Well, as I always say, Mondays are always the most boring day because it starts the week. But, however, as I always say, I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So today it's going to be all about ChocoPro. As you know, we're going to be catching up with the recent shows with number 406, 407, 408, and 409. Now, however, one of these particular events does have a title match and all that, and it's pretty cool to watch it as well. As you know, we will be getting to other ChocoPro events coming up soon, and that will be from another later time. And then, of course, we are going to cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events just are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, and developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got to do Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been set aside. I believe it's time to begin. So, as I said, it's all about ChocoPro, so let's begin with number 406. Okay, ChocoPro number 406. This took place back earlier this month on the 4th of November. So, as always, we had Bali and Aki opening up the show, giving the lowdown, greeting the fans, and yada yada yada. So, that sort of thing. Now, let's begin with our very first match. We have tag team action. We have Hiroyi Yawada. She teams up with Miya Yatsuba to take on Chiko Shikawa and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, of course, nothing too significant on this, but however, the only thing is more significant is Chiko Shikawa, who is one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team champions, along with Obi. However, I don't know if this will apply, but it could. But of course, you look at Hiroyi Wawada has the least experience. Mia has about maybe 2 years of experience. She could somewhat do something. I mean, she has won matches here and there, but she hasn't picked up the big match that she has earned and deserved yet. But, however, she has to deal with Chiko Shikawa, who's a bit more all energy, and then, of course, Masahiro Takanashi, who's a bit more slick and clever than you possibly think. But it was, in fact, Chi who picked up the win when she pinned Hiroyi, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have Irikane. She teams up with Shon Shido to take on Sayaka Obihiro and Antonio Honda. Of course, you probably would think there was going to be anything to significance because Obi is in this match. I think that maybe the same rule will apply. But however, if you look at, of course, Irikane, she has a bit of the least experience out of all three individuals in this match. But of course, that paid off when Honda was able to apply a submission on Irikane, and just like that, she had no choice but to tap out. Now, for our main event, it's the Super Asia Championship. Mei Shiruga defends the belt against Tokiko Kirihara, and I believe this is, of course, Tokiko's first uh, singles championship opportunity. I know she has challenged for the tag team belts with Honda, but never a singles competition. That is something, of course, I have noticed, and I think I have put notes on this one in the past. But it was a pretty good match. But you look at Tokiko, she does have, of course, some great striking ability. But when it comes to Meisira, I've always called her the Slide Devil because she's always up to no good. If you ever guys ever seen Balinaki when he's commentating, he's always saying, "May, hey, May, ref, do your job." She's always up to no good. But it was, of course, her finisher move. I don't know what she calls it, but it was the one thing that sealed the deal for her to retain the belt. Now, of course, we end our entire event with a bit of the Jonkin tournament. Wasn't too sure how this was going to play out, but the person who won this entire tournament was none other than Chon Shiru. But in the post show, they did celebrate Tokiko Kirihara's birthday. So yep, they all were singing happy birthday to us, or that was pretty much what happened on that particular day. So it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed this one. Let's see how 407 is when we review it right now. Okay, number 407. We continue with more with ChocoPro. This took place on the 9th of November, but however, this was not actually broadcast until the following day on November 10th. So anything could happen, and there is no championship matches in case anybody asks. However, we did have Meishuruga open up the show. Reason is because Balinaki was the first match opening up the entire show as well. So we'll get to that right now. So Balinaki teams up with Nonaka Seto to take on Irikane and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, of course, uh, Nonaka Seto has probably everybody remember she may have 1 year of experience. Irikani, well, a couple of months actually. So it does play out in some capacity, but when you look at Masahiro Takanashi, as I always say, he's a bit more clever and slicker to find ways to pick up wins. That's always been his MO. But however, in this case, it was Balinaki who was able to pick up the win when he pinned Iri, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have Irohi Yawara teaming up with Chonchiru to take on Kaho Irohi and, of course, big sister Mei Shiruga. Well, they're not really sisters, but they almost look alike. I mean, you look at Kaho, who's a bit more cuter and more fun. You look at Mei Shiruga, even though she's cuter, but I like to call her the little slide devil, so it's like the good and the bad and evil, that sort of thing, in their combination. But they probably would work perfectly because they have the same kind of similar childish ways. I mean, imagine if Balanaki has to deal with both of them at the same time. But the last time those two fought each other, Balanaki sided with Kaho, thinking it was so much fun. But of course, the most leaser experience out of everybody in this match is Kaho because Kaho was right after Hirogi. That's always been one of the things we have noticed. But however, it was of course Chon who picked up the win on her by pinfall. It looked more like a submission move, but it played out pretty well for him to walk away. Now for our main event, we have of course Tokiko Kirihara, Sawadi Kamen, and Sayaka taking on of course Chiko Shikawa and Obi, our current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions. They team up with Chiko Shikawa's old partner and friend Hagane Shino. So it's great to see Hagane because we haven't seen him for quite some time. I mean, she and Hagane were very, very, of course, good friends, and not to mention tag partners. But of course, Hagane tried to tell her that she needs to rely on herself more now that he doesn't need to protect her, and that always played out pretty well. But however, I don't know how this play out because, as I said, you got Chi and Obi who are the current tag champions. That's always one of the things that will play out. But it was Sayaka who picked up the win by pinning Chi, and just like that. So it's the possibility she could get another shot of an opportunity of the tag belt. But the real question you ask yourself, who will be her tag partner? That is the common question we probably will see down the line. But for now, let's just keep moving forward and see what happens because we do have our Jonkin tournament. Um, I wasn't too sure exactly where this is going to go, but I can tell you who made it to the finals. It was Hagen Nishino and Kaho Irohe. Like Hagen Nishino, I don't know if he was thinking, now I have to face a child. So, I mean, Mochi Natsumi can't stand her, but who knows? But surprisingly, Kaho was the one who walked away when she pulled Rock Hagane with scissors. So that kind of played out pretty well. I don't know if this is her first time winning a Jonkin tournament. If it is, good for her. First time for everyone. And as for the post show, they were celebrating another birthday, and that is, of course, Sayaka. So, happy birthday to her as well. So that's pretty much it for what happened on episode 407. So let's jump in with 408. Okay, as we continue with more with ChocoPro, we are now in 408. This took place on November 16th. This time, opening the show was Kish Koshikawa. I think she is participating in the match. Yep, she's in the main event. So, as usual, she gave the lowdown, gave the info on what's going to happen on the entire event. But let's get started with our first match. We have Hiroyu Yawada teaming up from coming out of Evolution. Miyuna is her tag partner, yeah. So basically, we have been seeing wrestlers from Evolution also appearing in other promotions, and I'm not sure if this is Miyuna's debut. Yeah, it is. She faces against Tokiko Kihara and Mei Shuruga, so it probably will be a much stronger match of types in some capacity because don't know how long Miyuna has been wrestling. I mean, she's barely brand new. She first debuted right after Soy, but we know Hidoi has been in wrestling for almost a couple of months. But in the end, it was Mei Shruga with her submission tactic onto Miyuna to pick up the win. And just like that, it was over. Next up, we had a very fun, interesting three-way. We have Irikane versus Miya Yatsuba versus Trans Am Hiroshi. Now, those who know Trans Am Hiroshi, he is a funny guy. He comes out in a very Kung Fu Karate Kid style getup. But the one thing you have to steer clear is him singing. One of my favorite moments is when he got everybody to do the We Will Rock You song, which is, of course, real fun. However, there was this one time he had a match with Eri by herself in a one-on-one match where they actually had a little opera off. Well, same situation but different scenario. Basically, Mia had to deal with this nonsense. You hear Trans Am going, "Ah!" And of course Erie. "Ah!" So she's like clobbering both one at a time when she hears. It's like she's telling them, "Shut up." So basically, that's what it was. But unfortunately, uh, it did not work in her favor. But however, when Erie and Trans thought they were good, like we're okay, we become friends. Well, apparently she let her guard down, and Trans Am put her in a schoolboy after poking her eyes, and then just like that, it was over. So I don't know what Erie was thinking, but I know Mia's not happy with the fact that she ended up in the middle of a opera show. I'm sure she'll get her payback sooner or later. But I thought it was a fun segment, but it was fun. In our main event, we have a 6-person tag match. Nonaka Seto, Sayaka, and Masahiro Takanashi. They take on Obi, Chiko Shikawa, and Ruchi Sakin. So basically, it's a very interesting. However, you got to keep in mind, you look at Obi and Chi, they're currently the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions. So one way or the other, somehow someone has to pick up. There is the possibility of one of them getting pinned by who I don't know. But it's always been the logical thing. But however, it was of course Chi who put Seto in Nonaka in a stretch muffler, and just like that, she tapped out. It was over. Now for a Jonkin tournament, wasn't too sure how this is going to go, but it ended up with two people, Transam Hiroshi and Sayaka. But the person who walked out winning the Jonkin tournament was none other than Sayaka. So pretty fun match. I mean, I did enjoy that opera off. That's one of the best moments. So I think that's pretty much it for this one. So let's do our final review in this ChocoPro episode, and we got 409. Okay, our final review in the ChocoPro episode, number 409. This was happened on the 23rd of November, but was not broadcast the following day on the 24th. So basically, bear with me. This time, of course, Chiko Shikawa opened up the show, giving the info and lowdown of the event. Our first match, we have tag team action. We have Kaho Hiromi and of course Nonaka Seto teaming up to take on Mei Shruga and Antonio Honda. Of course, you probably will see the difference between Kaho and Mei because they're almost alike, even though they're both shorter in their own perspective. But it does play out pretty well. And don't forget Honda with his usual, comedy routine, stopping the entire event and doing the Rocky Balboa, that sort of thing. But however, this match ended up showing down between both Mei and Kaho. They have stopped with each other before in singles action, but last time, of course, Mei Shruga walked out as the winner, and once again, Kaho is still unable to defeat her until she ended up in a submission, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have tag team match, and we have a guy named Diego. I believe he's making his debut. He teams up with Sayaka to take on Chiko Shikawa and Obi in a non-title match. Now remember, Sayaka does have an opportunity to catch in a shot of the tag team belts, but she needs a strong partner. So I'm sure she's trying to find the right one. So anything could happen in this particular match. But however, it was Chi who actually picked up the win by pinning Sayaka, and just like that. But it's only a matter of time until Sayaka finds the right partner to issue her challenge for the Asian Dream Tag Team belt. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, we have, of course, Masahiro Takanashi. He teams up with Harashima all the way from DDT Pro Wrestling. They take on Shin Dragon, consistent of Shin Suzuki and Shon Chidu. So it's great to see both of these guys teaming up once again. Of course, Masa, he can team up with anybody, but mostly he teams up with Chris Brooks, but I don't think he's available at the time. But a whole lot of things happened during that time. Don't forget, Masa's a bit more clever and slicker. But in the end, it was Harashima with somewhat of a running Meteora that put away Shon, and just like that, it was over. Now, for our Junkin tournament, wasn't too sure how this was going to go, but the winner was none other than Diego, who, even though he did not win his debut match, he won the Junkin tournament. But runner-up was none other than Shon Chidu. And as for the post-show, they celebrated the birthday of Shon Chidu, even though he did not win at all, but he gets a birthday celebration, so there you go. So that's pretty much it for all of our ChocoPro events that we reviewed. Let's cap it up with our last and final thing, and that is, of course, news updates. on to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events. As you know, we had the collaboration by the 29th of November between DEFY Wrestling and Progress Wrestling in Brooklyn. Los Desperados, consisting of Gringo Loco and Aries, they team up to face against the main event, Jay Lyons and Midas Black. And then on that very same day, on the 29th of November, we got GCW's You Wouldn't Understand. They announced Matt Tremont will be in action to take on Lou Nixon. Now, on the 1st of December, we had the Ladies' Night Out 14th. We're going to have a 6-woman tag match on team number 1. The ladies from NWA, consistent of the Page sisters, Kenzie and Kylie Page, along with Ella Envy. They take on Maya World, Jade Stone, and Zoe Sky. Then on the 29th of the 21st of December, Freelance Wrestling will have their upcoming event called Prelude. The Freelance World title will be defended. The current champion, uh, Kylie Ray, will be defending it against Giselle Shaw. So that's going to be a fun match. Now, we do have 2 events happening on the same day on January 11th of 2025. The first one is MLW with Kings of the Coliseum. Hechi Seto has been announced that he will be participating in this one. And as for the other one, Prestige Wrestling for Roseland 10, we have Timothy Thatcher taking on Adam Priest. So that's going to be a real fun match. Now for some interesting developments. Many of you know Yuki Mashiro, who is the current Ice Infinity champion, recently spoke with Tokyo Sports. She say her dreams is to go to WWE, and the person she wants to face is Julia. Now, many of you don't know this or not. Julia was part of Ice Ribbon, the same thing as you for Yuki Mashiro as well. So that is obvious. But what she also revealed is that her dream started when she started watching the Fast and the Furious films that feature The Rock, and that's how she started watching WWE matches. So I'm sure many of you would love to see her in there, but the real question is, can she get there? I mean, she's still young. She's still in her early 20s, I believe, or mid 20s. I'm not sure, but only time will tell. The only thing we do have developments with Yuki Mashiro, she is no longer under contract with Ice Ribbon, but she has switched to becoming a freelancer instead due to the growing situation inside of Ice Ribbon. So we'll see how things will progress with her in her career. So I think that's pretty much it with everything with our news updates and reviews. Let's just call it a day. Okay, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT. I think we're all going to have to deal with the fallout, what happened with Chase U. And of course, we're getting closer and closer to, of course, Deadline that will feature the Iron Survival Challenge, which, of course, the men's and women's division will have an opportunity to challenge for the NXT men's and women's championship. So we'll see how that. As for other reviews, I'm not 200% sure just yet. There is the New Japan thing. I'm trying to see if there is one. I know there's the much recent Mighty Gold and Sendai Girls, so we'll see how that will go out. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is and we'll see what happens. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.